he's arrived, I'll go live because apparently
no.
Am I still stuttering?
No.
Sounded a bit like a Dalek.
And Orex mentioned in the comments, but there we go. Now, what's the question mark for? Have you also got no Avata 2, Bruce?
No, I don't have an Avata 2, actually. In fact, I don't have two of them.
No. I believe this week, unless you have, although the Mesh-tastic videos seem to have disappeared. But
Yes.
if you haven't got a Mesh-tastic or Avata 2,
you'd watch too much Andy Kirby, you do.
Yeah, well, yes. He's well, not just him. There's a few others as well. But yeah, I think that system might have fallen over with its own success a little bit. Because it's not really meant for having that many nodes that quick, that close to each other. It's great. I use it, but I don't think you're supposed to have hundreds of nodes near everywhere. Don't think it's working quite as. But anyway, what should we talk about, chaps?
Nothing. This stream's over. Let's go home.
Oh, fair enough. Toasted cheese sandwich for breakfast this morning. Oh, Cliff, that's luxury.
No one likes to show off, Cliff. Nobody likes to show off.
That is living it large, isn't it? Living it large.
If you had tomato in it, then he's smashing it.
No.
You can't put tomato. It makes it all watery and runny. It's terrible.
Exactly. It's like those packed lunches your mum gave you, and the tomatoes, just your soggy sandwiches by lunchtime.
Do you like my new logo? Do you like the little sign I've got here?
Yeah. Should I get rid of that? Let's get rid of that.
You can leave it there. I don't care.
I'll
I'm banging my head against it.
For another reason, and that reason is over. So, delete brand. There we are.
So it was interesting with the Avata 2, though. Speaking of Andy Kirby, he seems to have spotted what I think Ian may not have spotted in terms of the CE operation of the Avata 2 drone. That in CE countries, it's 25 milliwatts on 5.8 gigs, but it switches to 200 milliwatts on 5.2 gigs when you go just a little bit out. And so, yeah, that's interesting. That's why the Avata 2 is performing so much better than the Avata 1 in CE countries, because it's actually 200 milliwatts, not 25.
I believe the lad put a video out this morning to that very effect, or late last night. Yeah, he put another one out, something like that. Yeah, and that the FCC hack doesn't quite work for the CE branded ones, but it looks like a pretty amazing thing.
No, it's just a drone. It's just like, I mean, the problem is the people that are reviewing it, a lot of them have never flown a really good Cinewoop anyway, so they don't know. They don't have a frame of reference. It's so much better than the last one, which the last one was pretty tame, and it still has that washout problem on fast flat turns. So it's got, they say 23 minutes of flight time, but in reality, I've seen some people claiming that when they're hammering it, it's like 8 or 9 minutes, which is what I get out of my Cinewhoops. So with a lithium-ion pack in them, so it's great. It is a fantastic, well-packaged turnkey solution to a problem, but it is still an entry point, I think, for a lot of people. Although the camera's pretty good, apparently, and
it's a lot of money. It's a lot more money than I get past them.
And it's a lot of money in incremental terms too, because you go in here in New Zealand, for example, the drone itself is like $1,500, or the drone in the standard package is about $1,700, I think. If you want the Fly More, it's $2,200. If you want the Kia Refresh, then it becomes like $2,400. If you want the ND filters, you're $2,500. If you want then to license the FCC hack that drone hack crowds put out, that's another $100. You get up $3,000 by the time you get everything you want. There's a lot of money for a little bit.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, isn't it? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's very much. I don't know. Maybe the entire world is wealthier than me, but it just strikes me as a lot of money. Mine, it's almost like buying a focus puller for £1,500.
But it doesn't even have the attachment for these. I'm really disappointed, given the recent experience in the Ukraine theater. I thought they'd have that be standard feature.
Absolutely. So, what do we think is causing the washout then? If it's, is it just the ducts losing?
No, it's not so much the ducts as the high side area. But basically, when you're going sideways, you're operating in a very turbulent airflow for the props that are basically downwind of that fuselage section, and that causes the props to stall. It's momentarily stall, and that just tips over. It's pretty simple stuff.
And they went from 5-bladed to 3 as well, with a little bit of fancy S in them.
I mean, actually, no, that's not new. Hang on.
No, it's not new, but is that just window dressing, or is that? Yeah, true.
Oh, yes. This is an old whoop going. This is my police drone. It's an old one. That props. This has got a single bolt attachment, but with 2 screws. It's an old design, and it's all about. Oh, hang on. It's all about reducing noise. As I said, they went from a pusher to a tractor to reduce the noise, and it significantly has reduced the noise apparently.
Hello there, Dominic, and everyone else, hello Cliff, and everyone else that's watching. There's been an interesting week. We've got the promised thing from Randall Warner's tomorrow at, I think it's about 8 o'clock my time in the evening, something like that. That's probably going to be the Anzu drone, so that'll be very interesting to watch. The green thing, remember, in the leak, well, they're not leaks, are they? They're just FCC things put on thing. But we haven't seen anything from this Cogito thing. And I must admit, I've stopped bothering to look for any new videos from that. Have we heard any more about that?
No, I haven't heard anything. But I think the big drone news this week has been Israel. And this really annoys me. Like drone, I normally search in Google News for drone, right? And normally it's like this product's been released and this is due to come up, and here's someone got caught flying a drone here and there. This week it's just all about Iran and Israel. There's nothing other than war drones, and it's completely flushed the hobby out of the headlines. And the worrying thing is that we still have this connection between drones and multi-rotors that we fly. And we need to break that somehow. We need to come up with a new terminology for the things that we use. Don't call them drones anymore, because we're just associating with that horrible crap that's going on. They need to be fluffy bunny quadcopters or something, peace quadcopters or something.
It won't happen. I mean, this bugged me for years because I wouldn't even say the word drone. It's like it's a media dub term. We should be saying multi-rotors as we used to do, but I'm afraid we've just lost it, and it ain't going to matter anyway, because the media are going to say, the public now think of the two with both the same word. But that is the trouble. They can't differentiate between them, but we're not going to decouple that. Not anytime easily. Not unless everyone had them in their own houses, like they do computers, and then they'd understand, but that's just not going to happen.
And I love the way this other stuff, kamikaze drone. How can it be a kamikaze drone? There's nobody in it. It's like media. You are so stupid. Or is this the agenda thing? This vilify it all, make it horrible. Oh, by the way, when's the Olympics in France? I want to see those pilotless air taxis floating around.
Oh, there's going to be loads of them. Loads and loads and loads of them. It's just going to be opening up of the market. It's going to be fantastic.
And Ian put a tweet out this morning. What was it about, Ian?
Was that the one where I tagged you in where it was is it in Amsterdam, a drone conference thing, and they're making out there's going to be commercial use of eVTOLs next couple of years to say in Europe, and they mentioned EHang at the end in the sentence the way it was. I thought initially that was in Europe, but I think it was reading saying it would be the US next year. I can't see the FAA being quite that gullible is the word I'm thinking.
No, they're not. I wondered if you could see me looking around then, because I remembered as we were talking, is it going to work on this? Yeah, it is. Here we go. Can you see this? No, you can't. Yes, you can. Did we see this week?
Yeah, although I would say we have to speak with caution on this one because the police are involved. So if anyone's been arrested,
the police should be involved.
Just a shoot down.
Yeah. I was going to say there is contempt of court. That's all I'm saying.
Shouldn't be flying that close to a helicopter. It was the anti-drone system in the helicopter.
Well, it's a HEMS helicopter that's landed, in the playing field. Medical emergency. That's me sneezing if it was there. But what a chop! That's what I'm going to say. But what surprised me was the very polarized reaction of one person who put up and said, "Oh, we've got to feel sorry for the guy who's lost a drone," and everyone else piling in. But yeah, I should think two sides of the coin here. The action's just about to happen.
Yeah, I've dug into this more. I've spoken to the pilot on this. But yeah, I'll have to use my words carefully, I think. But he has posted publicly explaining this here. So people need to calm down a bit. In that this is a landed helicopter anyway. ADSB is that even on when it's landed like this? So would he have even known? But he lives nearby. He didn't see it. He didn't know it was there. He's saying he'd just taken off. The moment he saw it, he turned the drone around. The video confirms that that's the behavior.
The moment
he's been hovering there for a minute.
The moment. I've keep looking.
Oh, I didn't know whether that was just stopping on the video being a bit slow there because I don't know. Maybe
he's looking at someone's backyard.
I can't see the shooter.
No.
I think
there was a grassy knoll there. That's always a giveaway.
It was a grassy knoll.
I think if you pause it, the guy. I think the shooter is caught in the video.
Is he?
Yeah. But basically, the guy says when he realised what was going on, he turned it around he was trying to get his orientation to bring it back home. So he spun it around, and then that were it.
Well, that would suggest he was flying BVLOS. Then he wasn't that far. He was only one house away from home.
Yeah. He's only nearby, so he's not flown beyond visual line of sight. But
he is because he can't see the drone from there. He's too low. He's over so he's BVLOS. Doesn't matter if you go behind a tree at 3 feet, you're still BVLOS.
He's shielded operations.
Don't have them in the UK.
No, they don't.
He should have had a shield though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
shields up.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with hovering beside a parked helicopter because there's no risk to anybody. But the thing I think probably more promoted it was he was turned around and looked in someone's backyard, even if only inadvertently. I mean, if you've got a house and there's a drone hovering that low in your backyard, as this one is, you're probably going to be a bit pissed off, if you don't know whose drone it is or whatever. Yeah, who's spying on me? He's looking through and could have your wife could be getting dressed in the kitchen.
I mean, that's what he's doing here is he's just turning it around for orientation because he's a little bit less experienced with it. So just trying to get it right for flying back. So I can understand why he's spinning around then. So it's a bit of drama over note for that. But it's this daft thing of, you can shoot it down if you think someone's doing something wrong. Well, no, I could go to any box junction, any box junction in the country, and I'll be able to spot a driver in no time breaking the law. In fact, I can do it in most normal junctions. Doesn't give me a right to bring out a rifle and start shooting at the car and take its tires out and saying, well, I had to react because I think a guy might have been breaking law. And that's the attitude here with taking the drones. And it's a very dangerous one because once you start doing that, it basically gives every NIMBY the entitlement to start shooting drones out of the sky. And then next minute, it's your drone. And when it's your drone, suddenly you'll have a completely different opinion on the matter. And, and we know what will happen as well is they'll accidentally, once people get used to shooting them down, they'll accidentally shooting down police drones and, drones doing medical deliveries. It'll just be a case of we can get away with it. So it needs knocking on the head. And seeing the last case where they don't want to talk about it. So I think they did this. I think they said, well, you were in the wrong. He was in the wrong. Let's call it a draw. It's a very bad situation to be in, especially if it's genuine firearms in use there. Where here it's allegedly a air rifle. But even still, it's the principle of it. Once you're starting shooting things out of the sky. But what I'm told is the police have taken it seriously from the shooting it out of the sky and that they viewing it as criminal damage, and it's more serious than that. Let me check the
discharge of an air rifle.
Let me check the wording. Although obviously there's
you can't fire a thing towards there was the helicopter on the other side. There were people in the park. So who's to say that wasn't the one and only shot that he fired to try and shoot it down? You
see, it's good. They're going for criminal damage and endangering life from the fact that it ended up with the drone falling. But whether that'll go the way with that, I have no idea.
Wow.
But it would be good to have a drone one with more serious charges there. If nothing else, when it gets in the papers and publicity, so other people think, oh, wait a minute, we shouldn't be taking pot shots at drones.
It's interesting.
Sorry, just go one second. You wouldn't know that wasn't the police there bringing their drone, because we've had situations where there's the emergency services helicopters, and there's police drones there. You know, either one's landed and they're doing the video. In fact, I'm pretty sure that there's actually been an incident in Bradford today which has been covered, and it's on social media, and there's video of it. And I'm pretty sure, and that there was, I think, mentioned of a helicopter there, so it might be air ambulance, so it might be MPAS. But I'm sure on the video there was also a police drone flying. So, you know, we do have situations where there's multiple assets. So if someone's taking, you know, this, oh, well, I don't think a drone should be here, I'll shoot out the sky, they will end up taking out a police drone as well eventually.
But if they'd used a laser, it would have been right, eh? Like a dragon's breath laser, they'd been fine.
That thing only fires 3 times before it needs a massive recharge.
Goes back to the factory for a recondition.
Yeah, it's three shots you get out of that laser.
$3 million laser, $2 pocket mirror as a mitigation.
I put that again in my favourite place to make people angry. The Grant Shapps, the MP, put up a big post about, you know, how tremendous this was, and I said, "Oh, I'd love to have a go at defeating that. I'll just off to the mirror shop." And then someone else put, "Oh yeah, Gary's putting disco balls up," which I thought was a brilliant idea. And then people started laying into me. That's impossible. It would go straight through such a high power laser.
Well, maybe I should get on this LinkedIn then.
Yeah, and then somebody else says, "What happens if it's a cloudy day?" And then they were all, "Whoa!" You know, it was.
What do you mean by 3 shots?
That's all it fires.
What do you mean all it fires?
It's got a huge battery. It can do 3 shots, and then you got to charge the battery up again.
Oh, but surely if you fast it in the battleship of that, it's in the main power supply, so that isn't the case.
No.
The peak power draw must be fantastic too.
It's not connected to the battleship. It's not connected to HMS Boat. It's a 13 amp plug in the wall on the side, and it's not. It's 3 shots. That's all it fires. I have been reliably informed, and I believe I sent you the invite to. You could have gone down to Porton Down and looked at it. We got the invite to that. So, but yeah, I wouldn't. Funny enough, I wasn't going to commute up for that.
Well,
that was
New Zealand is working on their own system. It's this very large Fresnel lens that's carried aloft by 4 drones, and you fly alongside an enemy drone. It focuses the sunlight on it. It's much cheaper to run.
The Icarus.
Yes, the Icarus.
The Icarus. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, much cheaper.
Speaking of which, Air New Zealand is buying an electric airplane to trial over a short route of 150 kilometres. And like, oh, really? Seriously? You're going to spend money on an electric plane? And they won't be flying it until, because the original one is now flown a distance of 480 kilometers as its range. So they're going to invest in this thing and then going to apply for CAA certification so they can use it in New Zealand. And I'm thinking, why are you such an early adopter? What are you going to gain? Oh, it's credentials for carbon neutrality. I'm like, oh, seriously?
Well, what type of aircraft is that they're after? Not the little Pipistrel trainer.
No. It's a bigger one, a twin engine, I think. And they're going to use it for cargo initially, like, you know, freight, but not people. But I mean, why would you invest? Because it's not going to be cheap, and it's not the price of the plane, but you have to have all the infrastructure that goes with it, and that may not be compatible with the next electric plane that comes out, which is, you know, to a different standard, and because there's not much standardization yet. It's not like EV chargers, is it? Everyone's got their own system, and you know, EHang's probably got its system, and then other people had their system. So it's I don't know. And how do they plan to make it economical when the battery is going to do like 300 flights to a battery or something, and then you have to put a whole new battery in it? That's crazy.
Well, I think the US Army are leading the way there, and Air Force are flying now the Caravans that have been converted and are autonomous. As soon as you get rid of the self-loading freight.
Yeah, but this isn't autonomous. This has got pilots in it.
Yeah, I know. This is, and that's going to be our point. Yeah. As soon as you get rid of one or two of those people in the front, suddenly your payload goes up by 80 kilos or endurance goes out a little bit. But if you're fighting a war, you know, that 300 battery cycles, etc., and all that sort of thing doesn't really matter if you're getting your cargo through to a very, very dangerous place. And if it gets shot down, it gets shot down. But otherwise. But yeah, in peacetime, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that we're getting ready for that yet. Oh, now what's this LinkedIn thing that somebody sent me?
Now this I find slightly amusing because they've used the word stable in this video, and I would suggest.
I saw this. Yes, yes.
And see if the word stable is one of the words that comes to mind, because it isn't with me. In fact, I think the word stable's doing more lifting than we actually see going on in the video. This does concern me and some comments on here of saying, why are people keep trying to do a first of a manned multi-rotor flight, because people have already done it. So why are we still doing it? And why are we doing test flights with real people in them?
What about the Chinese guy with the chainsaw motors years ago?
Yes. Can you hear that? Is it loud?
Yep, that's fine. It reminds me of that. It slices, it dices. It's Julien's from KTEL. By now, gets 6 free steak knives.
I like the use of footballs, though. I've not seen that before.
Seriously, there was that guy in Sweden. Is it
stable? That's stable. That is.
Oh, so stable.
What do we reckon here? KK 2.1
multi-wee.
Yeah.
I think they're looking at that, and I'm thinking shopping trolley. That's what I'm seeing with the rotors on.
Man in a blender. What's so? I mean, like, really?
It's got the odd the climbing because there's a problem with the vibration.
Do a flip. Come on. Neil Armstrong was doing this, buddies, 50 years ago.
It's only loud, isn't it?
All you need to do is put a white carbon fiber body on that, and you can get certified in China next year.
Yeah.
Here comes the footballs. Oh, I thought we were going to see.
I mean, that's.
Oh, look at the bloke entering stage right.
With the fire extinguisher. This is, I think, because we can explains this. No other reason.
Yes, as you said, stable and reliable power.
Oh, so stable. Oh, wow. And all those props at eye level, that's great. We know what happens when a carbon prop lets go and it takes out all the others.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it blends. It's just buy an Agras T60. Yeah, exactly. The Agras will do it. Oh, high voltage. There we are. This is one for you, Bruce.
Yep. No, it works with existing battery, all the existing batteries. There's no change. That's the beauty of it. It's a different charging system that works on existing battery technologies. But I've been sort of doing a bit of research and a bit of thinking, and I think it would probably wouldn't offer much in the way of improvements for batteries like drones, where you've got a very high draw, because most of the damage happens during the 10, 20, 30 C discharge. It's where you've got something that's going to be like an EV battery where it's being discharged at less than 1 C. That's when you're going to get the benefits, I think, because there's no real damage done during the discharge cycle. It's mainly during the charge cycle. So I think you won't make your drone fly long, or make your drone batteries last longer, but your EV battery and your phone battery certainly would.
Yeah, my phone battery could do with lasting a bit longer. It's going a bit shabby now. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. There was something about Gatwick. Dementia, exactly. There was something about Gatwick and all the shenanigans that came to my top of mind, but it's floated off completely. But you mentioned to people this weekend to not don't over egg the foyer thing. What were you talking about?
That was actually on the leasehold thing, which I follow, because it's a big scandal here in the UK. It needs to get even more focus so people realise, because in cities like Leeds, Manchester, everywhere, that you're building leasehold flats and people are buying them thinking, these like any other homes, they're not. I've been involved in this at both sides as a leasehold owner, and I even was involved in management, and I see what's gone on, and it is terrifying, and people need to be aware and keep their money well away from flats in the UK. Well, I'll say UK, it's England and Wales, where the law here is just pretty rubbish. So we've done away with ages ago. Margaret Thatcher, she got rid of she made it so you could have private building sign off. So basically, you could build a building, not very safe, get signed off anyway. There's stuff, there's channels on it now, even with normal houses, where they're going round and literally there's faults. You can see them with your eyes, bricks uneven, there's fake air vents, everything. It's disgraceful, the building standards. But even worse with leasehold, because you buy it all. And there's even buildings that are unsafe, plasterboard over it, blah, blah, blah. You buy it and then you're stuck with it. And they also do, you overcharge for everything. So people get told $750 a year. Before you know it, you're paying $6,000. There's some people paying for this like 3-bedroom flat, £35,000 in service charges a year and stuff like that. It's insane. But what they're trying to do is, because they're doing a campaign around it, is they're trying to use the Freedom of Information Act. I want to do a bit of extra drama around it for social media. So they went and printed it out and took it in and handed it in. But what they were saying to the followers was, oh, all email in the question. No, so say don't all be emailing in the same question, because you'll just wind them up then and they'll use it against you. They'll say you're being vexuous and you're just trying to waste the time. And then you give them the ammunition to then not answer your questions. So I was just saying to them, use it responsibly.
Don't do that.
I've had it hard enough when I've just been asking questions myself, and one other guy does, and they try and say, "Oh, you're doing a campaign because there's two of you." It's like nonsense. And so, if they try to bombard it with hundreds, it would go against it.
Cliff mentioning Gatwick there. I see Hillingdon's raised its ugly head again. And a commercial user in the UK has discovered that they've called RAF Northolt, which is just north of Heathrow. That's what reminded me. It is just north of Heathrow, within 5 miles, and said we'd like to fly. And they've said get in touch with the Hillingdon Council, and they're jumping up and down. But remember, Hillingdon Council passed the bylaw, so they've made it so. And it's amazing how quickly, I can't even remember how many years ago that was, but it wasn't too many years ago that they did that. And that's sort of gone out of institutional knowledge now in the drone world. Everyone was up in arms about it, and now we've forgotten. One operator goes there to try and fly, and everyone's up in arms again. So what do I want to say with that? I want to say it's either a high turnover of operators, so nobody remembers, or nobody's doing any flying. I don't know which it is, but
bit of both.
We should be disseminating more information more easily in readable formats. Training, I was talking to someone else about that today. The money that's coming into licensing and stuff like that, and just general visits and this and that, and it's not gone back into training at all and safety, which is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Rant ends.
I was going to say it was Quentin that you had on this show.
That's right.
Many years ago, where he'd raised it first that his council were doing that, and
it was a while ago, wasn't it? It was about at least 5 years ago.
I don't know if it's that many, but it's at least 3. It is a long time.
It was before COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is
that doesn't feel that long ago, does it? But
no. Well, I reckon it was 5 years ago, but it seems to have died down. And then, of course, you get a raft of people saying, "Oh yeah, here's my shots all around Hillingdon." It's like, oh no, don't incriminate yourselves. But I was just surprised how quickly all that goes. Now,
with you mentioning Gatwick, you reminded me of something that childish giggle I got this week, because I didn't even know it existed. I was having to dig round for some of the old videos because a question came up that I was trying to answer. And they'd on the Good Morning Britain, they had one of the Sussex police chiefs on, and they captioned him as Ass Chief, which made me laugh. So Google it and you can see the video.
If you want Ass Chief. Laugh. Yeah, and so how's the 28-day contempt of court thing going? Have they responded this week at all?
I've had nothing back other than that. Obviously, last week I had the confirmation that both are raised. So I think they're just going to run the whole thing right through to court, and we'll have to see what goes on. So Yeah, I don't know.
Insane. The court asked them to give. Surely that should just.
Yeah, no, well, the court have now escalated both to that upper tribunal to rule on contempt of court. So that's what we're waiting for now. So I don't know whether I'd have thought the police by now, if they wanted to, they'd have jumped in and tried to stop it and say, "Oh, well, no, wait a minute, we were answered." But I don't know. They might want to run it the whole course. Kevin was mischievous by tagging the chief constable directly on my post on LinkedIn and also Sussex Police. I saw you doing that. I thought you mischievous scamp.
Yes. So, you cheeky monkey, you.
Yes.
In Kevin we trust. That's the second time I've said that today. It's just. Is this for lack of? Yeah, it is, Cliff. It is for lack of disclosure. They're 28 days. What about a week ago? 2 weeks ago now. To sign.
Yeah, so it's over 2 weeks ago now. Yeah.
It's typical. They leave it till the very last moment, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes. There's other people that have complained about this, about the way everything ends up being very last minute. I mean, the reply I did get that wasn't an answer was, a couple of days have left until they had the time to do it. So, yeah, it's just going to be dragged out, and we'll see what happens. I did have I think I mentioned I had a quick chat with Richard Ryan about it, because he's, obviously he's noticed it now because it's run on that far. So he was just having a quick chat. There was another Freedom of Information as well that I've got a few going on at the minute where they've kind of been knocked back and I need to argue them, and there's some that I am going to take further for the fight, but I kind of want to just keep my focus on this one for now, because you can only juggle so many at once.
And this is basically the admission that Aeroscope was there.
There's Aeroscope, yeah, and I'd asked a bit of the timeline for, because the timeline's very vague. Some bits it's detailed, and then some bits it's really woolly. And I just asked for, we mentioned this before, to define when morning was for one of the particular days.
That's right. The definition of morning. That's right.
This just shows how silly it is, though. These little things being argued over, but it's the bigger principle behind it. Because if you can argue the silly things, bat them away, then you can't ask even more significant questions, because they're used to getting away with it by default. And so I have to fight that first before I can fight sort of the meatier questions. And we've had the DFT. I don't know whether they mentioned this last week or not. It might not have come back by then. But we've got this. See, anyone else to do Department of the Transport, and you get back a response from someone, Department of Transport, and suddenly, I don't know, I always get a response back from Transport and Security Directorate, which kind of suggests that my freedom of informations are getting diverted off. And yes. Getting a bit more of a difficult time, but the concern here now, it's the second or third time now where I've asked for stuff on freedom of information that I know for a fact exists, because I've got other freedom of informations, sometimes from the DFT themselves. So DFT themselves, I'd done a query, and they try to guide the query, and went, no. These words. I wanted to try and find any emails over the period that could have related to a cyber incident at Gatwick Airport. And I had the list. So I've got a list, all the emails, all the dates. And I've said, can I have this email, and there? Oh, can't find them. And this is about the third time now where stuff that has been on the computers has vanished. And it's not good. It's not good for anyone. It's not good to look for the DFT either. I think some of this just probably is innocent, and they just have. But I just don't understand why you do a freedom of information. You find the information and not store it aside. Apart from the fact, if you're saying, it was a major aviation incident and Georgia, we should learn from it, then why wouldn't you be backing up the stuff to learn from it rather than letting it all vanish down a plug hole, which is what's going on at the minute. So I've done a quite robust one back to that, saying, look, this can't go on. If I'm going to go to Information Commissioner, if you're going to say you're just losing information, or go all the way to tribunal if we have to, because I'd like to see arguing that to a judge that you're just losing stuff.
Yes.
All we can hope is for a ransomware attack, and then you can buy it on the dark web.
Yeah, Cliff. That's the software theory. that is the one that's disappearing. I don't think
I don't think there was
chicken nickel. I think it was, you know, the sky's falling in, and it was just escalated. But
it was just a weird thing that the very same team that was allocated dealing with the drone, because they were all senior people there, were discussing cyber security with aviation in the very few hours before Gatwick. So it was just one of those little things where it's good to see it, because if it's completely innocent and circumstantial, which I think it will be, I'm sure it will be.
But it could also have been
off and say dealt with.
But it could also have been somebody sent for exercise purposes only. Let's imagine there's a drone at Gatwick, and someone else has picked it up and gone, oh! and then they've run it for real. You can imagine that happening.
I mean, I've spoken to people that know their job in day in, day out cybersecurity, and they're like, no, it's not. Absolutely not. You know, they're absolutely convinced. But the thing that does it for me, it's the language. Because no one ever knew that I'd be doing the freedom of information on the emails. So you wouldn't need to bullshit your own emails. And all the emails, genuinely and sincerely, we've seen them. We've looked at some on the show where the same guy that was involved on the cyber emails was saying, you know, this video evidence we got from Gatwick, you know, it's like he was giving it words that he wasn't impressed. It was clear that he wasn't impressed with the evidence coming through. You wouldn't even be having those emails if it was a cover story, because you'd already know there's no drone to be found. So it just struck me that the language and the communications they were having, that there was a sincere belief that there was something going on, and people were just waiting for the evidence to come through and see some concrete analysis. But what is interesting is there's an email towards the end, which to me reads like it was kind of a wrap-up email for the Gatwick incident.
Yes.
And they've said they can't release it using the exemption. It would affect international relations that the UK has with other countries, which is quite an interesting one. That's not one that comes up very often. Because I've even said, well, can't you just give me the rest of it without the paragraphs or whatever that trigger that? So we will see what they say.
That's an interesting start to the Netflix series, isn't it? That you can't have the information because it'll affect.
I thought Fallout was the Netflix series about this.
That's Amazon. Oh, you shouldn't have mentioned that, because it has got really brilliant purple lens flare.
This was the segue for you, Ian. I put it in deliberately.
Yeah. 2 times Hawk anamorphic lenses, specifically made with a vintage look with purple coins.
Purple.
Oh no, they'd have used an AI filter. I mean, who uses the
glass? No. This is the real deal.
And did you see the new Blackmagic cinema camera, the box one, the Pixie or the Pixel?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, though, I am just going to do right here. I am actually in the process of building my own purple coated anamorphic, and this is the inner front barrel on it. You won't be able to see it because I can't get a flashing light on it, but you'll have to trust me. There is purple on the front of that. So
and we saw the oval bokeh too.
Yes. So that's cost. The whole build for that is under $1,000. So those using on the TV, they'll be like,
you could have bought Nevada for that.
£40,000. So
yeah, you could have got Nevada. Why did you do that? You should have got Nevada. All the cool kids are getting Nevada.
All the cool kids are getting. Hey, one thing I noticed, you know, this exchange of this attack by Iran. Did you notice how technology is making war so much safer? I mean, there was 300 cruise missiles, drones, ballistic missiles, and then we see the skies above Israel light up like a computer. Like, remember that Atari game, Missile Command?
That's exactly what I thought when I saw those things.
And nobody died. All that, I mean,
the yellow ball controller. Two buttons. Was it 2 buttons? I think it was.
It's funny you mentioned that as well, because there is a link to this for this line. Let me see if I can find it so you can have a look at it. This went pretty massive in the UAP community, and it's millions of views. I think it may have even been trending. But when they were looking at the video, now it turns out that in the US they put the patents in for it, so they have designed the thing. But there is apparently.
I'm not sure that a patent means they've actually made a thing.
Oh no, you've got the patents for all the tech in it. That's cool. But basically, there's this TR-38, which is a triangular aircraft. But it looks like the aircraft out of it looks like the spaceship out of Asteroids. So that's why I just think it's kind of funny. Then someone comes back now, equally as geeky, saying it looks like the Viper out of Elite, which is correct. It does. So it depends which angle you're looking at. But yeah, on the video, people are saying on the video that was potentially involved in shooting down some of the missiles. No, I don't think it is.
Yeah. And I think it had chemtrails out the back of it as well. But we're living in the future.
Can't you see the triangular craft shooting stuff out? And I'm not sure I can, but they think they can.
No, it's just
I can see it. I can see it.
Yes, there's three there, but it starts off as a whole bunch of them. There's just coincidence means that there's only three left as they all sort of fade out.
Yeah, I mean that was a run-do all around, and if you have enough warning, you are going to be able to shoot things down.
But the thing that's interesting with that though is you've got their pilots chasing proper drones, being able to chase them and blow them out the sky, and then we're being told someone's flying a consumer drone commercial drone around Gatwick at 40 miles an hour, and nobody can see that. You can't buy it when that's gone on as well. It's just another one of these things that when it actually comes to the reality of these situations, as Bruce says, that is amazing. Because didn't they say they fired off like 300 drones?
300, yeah. And it was clever the way they did it too. I mean, they launched the sort of what do they those Shahed petrol-powered, propeller-driven ones early on, take 4 or 5 hours to get there. And then they launched the ballistic missiles. The idea obviously was get all these slow, vulnerable drones there. And while they're dealing with those, you drop your ballistics in and they're diverted, but it didn't work. I mean, it's just the strength of that whole coalition defense was so much that those 300 drones counted for nothing.
But it did work in an economic sense, didn't it?
But I mean,
the money used.
It stimulated the defense industry in the US.
Oh, exactly.
Immensely.
Exactly. That's where I was taking that. Yeah. It's almost like both sides won. One side got to shake a stick, and the other side got to, as you say, rev up their sails.
But Israel's talking about striking back. I don't think they should. I think you should say, well, look, we've just proven how ineffectual all your cruise missiles and drones are against us. So you've just embarrassed yourselves. We'll leave it at that. But no, I don't know.
I don't know if there will be. I mean, obviously we don't know, but I mean, commentators that
we don't
kind of know the Middle East a little bit. I mean, I've seen people within military circles with the commenting, and they're saying along the lines of really that when Iran did this, because keep in mind they did give days of notice of the fact that they were telling people to close their airspace down. So this
and they closed their airspace.
They're saying really this is more for Iran at home and to other Arab countries, so it could go punch the air, go, woo, yeah, we had an attack, but knowing that it would have been ineffective because it would all get shot down, and that way it doesn't have to escalate because you can call it a bit of a draw. Everyone could say, it's a bit like one of those kind of drunken scraps where both blokes are there and neither of them really wants to fight, but they don't want to look like they haven't.
You seem very familiar with this scenario.
The mates pull them away, and then it's over with. So I'm more inclined to think it's gonna fizzle out, in that people don't want it to escalate. It's in no one's favour. So the US and that
never is it?
Apart from the US military defense department budget, they'll be rah. It's more.
You count the drone companies are probably wanting it to escalate.
I didn't follow the auction. I forgot that was today. There was other things. There was. Yes, of course, the great Precision Hawk sell-off.
It was that much gear, it was bound to go cheap.
No, it looks like it's gone pretty expensive.
Yeah, that was looking a bit too much for me as well. I guess that's because I know that people are not getting
to what it is, though, isn't it?
Well, they're not getting the M series drones out of DJI at the moment. People are struggling to get big orders out of them because, funny enough, they're going to other places. So I know. It's an issue over there. What was I going to say? Oh yes, it's all triggered the it's triggered the posturing from the big drone industry and the big military, but also you see all the backlash against American drones in Ukraine that came up in the press this week, and how useless they are. Funny old thing.
No, surely not. We're not talking green list, are we? Blue list, whatever.
Yeah, well, blue list.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
So, and I was watching the various defending comments from different people and how, but this is why we've got to innovate. And it's immediately, it just makes you think, to me, it makes me think, we'll just remove the VC capital, remove the BS and start building them properly.
Isn't it the case that really a lot of the American stuff is just on the standard frequencies that are on all your jamming guns and that anyway, so that it's just dead easy because you conform into completely known standards? Because that's the funny thing is, I love it with the drone guns when they do advertisements and they got the close-up photo and it shows it switches with all frequencies. So they're literally in their own publications and marketing. You can go, oh, I know how to counter your gear because you're making it also clear what it does.
Is it true that Webley are rebranding some of theirs as anti-drone guns?
Webley. Yes. Absolutely, but the difference between the Webley one and the other, exactly. Yes,
proven technology. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, the SF Drone School saying they're all perfect, even the green blue list. Yes, they are. They are indeed. It's going to be again It's going to be a controversial AUVSI show. This launch tomorrow from Anzu. That's going to put a cat amongst the pigeons, or whatever the phrase is, and then the poor performance overseas. But surely it's just VC money. It's oversold and under-delivered.
That's why all these countries now, AI drone swarms are the future. AI drone swarms. So you don't need to worry about being jammed. It's all AI onboard processing, and it's all going to be the future of drone warfare. So there'll be huge amounts of money being poured in because AI is hot and drones as a defensive offensive weapon are hot. This is going to be the perfect storm, the pinnacle, the joining of all these acronyms and buzzwords. It's going to recruit a lot of investment. And if you just use them as air taxis when there's no wars, it'd be even better.
But it's not going to help, though, is it? I'm still convinced that we're at the technology of good enough as far as multi-rotors is concerned, with very small incremental changes now. And we're going to see, because bring on the EMP weapons, absolutely, yes.
They're called nukes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what was running across my head. Exactly what was coming across my head. Because they're good enough, and let's face it, when they're really big, they are really big multi-rotors, like we saw though carrying that chap earlier, and they're just not practical in a lot of places just to move around, and the batteries that you need. So fixed wings become ever more and more useful, with payloads getting smaller, the lidars getting smaller, and other stuff. I think I really think we're on the cusp of seeing fixed wing coming back. A little bit for professional outfits that know what they're doing, know the data they want. They can send an aeroplane. I think.
Well, you got the hybrid, the fixed wing eVTOLs. Yeah, that's sort of like the worst.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is the worst of both worlds. Yes, if it was, with me, it would be flown off a runway all the time.
Hot air balloons. There's a lot of future for balloons.
Oh, yes.
Overlooking it.
Oh, yes, a big future. Ran a thing on the company that just got 3 million euros in investment for an airship. It's like a European company. I mean, it looks very nice.
It happens every few years, doesn't it? Someone
it does.
Against the airship. Yeah. What about wind? Forget about wind. Climate change, storms. No. It's all fine.
Absolutely. You just try and you go and steal the balloons from the balloon seller in the park and try and grab hold of them, and as you run away, see how controllable it is as you're stealing his balloons.
I think Zeppelin was onto something.
Yeah, absolutely. No. And TAC, I don't know whether that's Danish for hello or TAC, running out of helium. It's all been, well, that's the whole reason the Hindenburg had the hydrogen in it coming across, as it was helium
doubles
between
as a
the wars. Was it? Well, yes, absolutely. It's quick as well. My word, it's efficient and
especially
quick.
when your envelope is made of nitrocellulose or whatever it was.
Exactly. That's what they really reckon happened, didn't they? There was that sparked it.
Nitrated Dutch material, boom.
Full of hydrogen because the Americans had the world's store of easy.
They found a whole new store of helium just recently, actually. Apparently, they've discovered a whole new cavern or some place in America which is full of helium. So, yeah, so we're safe for a little while because otherwise MRI machines won't work, and a lot of uses for it.
Yeah, well, it was a restricted wartime substance. Don't export it to anybody, especially the Germans. So they filled it full of hydrogen. Right, we are definitely in ranty mode early. Let's open it up to Ian because that'll give us another 40 minutes.
He never has anything to say.
No.
I've just been too distracted this week with I don't know what.
God,
I've probably more with normal camera gear, like with Bruce say, with the Blackmagic Cube designed camera.
8K Insta360 came out today.
Yes.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's with that. I mean, I think it's same sensor size of that. It's got the only thing that I thought on that was cool. It's got a removable protector for the lenses, because that's the main issue with the 360s. A lot of them are put in, it's just they're thrown in environments where you use like a GoPro, but with a 360, you damage the lens on it, and then you're in trouble, and it's not cheap to get them sorted. So, but the protectors, you can lose quality or you get more reflections. So having the ability to either have them on or take them off is good for convenience. But
they should just have easy change lenses. Wouldn't that be a better way to do it? So it's consumable.
Another one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Maybe it's the way they calibrate it. They'll be very precise on it, where it's exactly where it's screwed in and whatever. But I don't see why you shouldn't be able to have lenses on them, easy to change. This is one of the things that always annoyed me with GoPro. They deliberately made it difficult on that. And the main limiting annoyance of the GoPro was always the fisheye. And when you put a rectilinear lens in there, you can get some really. It
sounds painful, doesn't it? I don't think. Is that what they use on those things when they're looking for polyps?
Absolutely.
There was a big thing with when it was 3DR Solo. There was Ribcage did a metal replacement cover for it, so you could put it in that, and then you could put your own lenses in. And I did that. And the quality of the footage you got out compared to the fisheye that's then straightened, I mean, it was brilliant. I had had people pretty amazed when I was showing them footage. And it still stand up these days, even with the 2.7K for the 50 frames per second you'd want. So yeah, it really does. That is a real thing that narks me. That puts me off action cams. That's why I'm not too interested in them, and I'll never ever touch a GoPro again, because they just re-release the same camera with the tweaks here and there. A lot of them, where if they really wanted to, they could do that in firmware and improve it. And I don't think that's always a bad thing, because your Panasonic Lumix stuff, that's why I like them, because they support stuff for years and years and years and years. I mean, I think it's been firmware for stuff like more than 5 years old, even. And the longer it gets in life, the less there will be. But they don't forget about the products entirely. And I think that gets brand loyalty as well, because I'll appreciate it. I know I can invest in their system and that. And I know that cages and battery things and a lot of the stuff I buy, even if they get a new model out, I'll be able to reuse a lot of it as well. So you've got that. It hits you. You don't get hit quite so hard as well when things are replaced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so true.
It's very true. He knows this too well now. San Francisco drone mentioning the Pika Pelican Elroy. Yeah, they're big fixed wings. They are big. That Elroy Air I like, but it's complicated.
I just have to jump in one thing though, because I haven't finished about Blackmagic.
Oh, so go on then.
You got me started, so you're gonna have to let it finish.
Yes.
The sensor in that isn't new. It's what's already in the S series range with the Lumix. So
only 13 stops of dynamic range too, which is a bit disappointing for a cinema camera.
To be honest, that it's not really. And then in practice,
there it goes.
You know, when you recorded in a log profile and that, you can do a lot of post. So that isn't really a concern. The limits they are with the sensors at the minute that they're using, which is a Sony sensor, I'm pretty sure, is the
everything's a Sony sensor.
If you want,
the original Blackmagic used the Fairchild.
Yeah. A lot of the modes you have to go into APS-C mode, so you crop it into it. You know, if you want some of the higher frame rates, rolling shutter's pretty poor as well. So it's all stuff you can work around.
It's the same with the Sony Burano though, and that's like a $20,000 camera. The rolling shutter on that's terrible.
Yeah, I mean the price of this thing's about $3,000, and it's not bad. I mean, to be honest, for that money, for me to go, wow, I'd want NDs built in, and I want. I don't think it's got XLR audio. I'm not paying enough attention.
Yeah, it's got XLR audio.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. That'd be something that, that takes the slight irk off, because the price of people going, oh, it's really cheap. But then, if you look at say the Lumix S5 2X, you know you can get that at around about $2,000, slightly under. But Lumix do loads of deals. So they throw you in lenses, they throw you in that.
Yeah.
So it really, you get a lot for your $2,000, and that'll record straight onto SSDs in ProRes. So although it's not raw, a lot of people don't need full blown raw. You know, just having a very.
If you want to be with the cool kids, you got to have full raw, mate. And also, but the thing is, it doesn't have a flippy up screen, and it's too heavy to hold at arm's length. So you know.
The one you can buy the EVF. So really, this is why, again, when I look at the price, the EVF's $1,500. So really, you're getting into 4.5 plus when you got all your batteries and everything. So really, you're pushing up towards 5. So when I look at it like that, it is a big step up from a lot of your, you know, your Sonics or your Lumix or your Fujis and stuff, where if you're going for your hybrid, you'd be going for that instead. So
you can have 5 barters for that, just about.
Yes, your Blackmagic crowd are a bit funny because they overlook. Because the thing with Blackmagic, I guess, they do really nice images, and you've got your DaVinci for editing the head, but they don't make stuff that's that brilliant to use. There's always quirks in the design where people are always doing mods. There's a big mod community. So there was already companies out there doing a box kind of cage for it, costing loads of money. So they've probably killed those projects now in bringing that camera out. But it's like Bruce says, why didn't they make that screen so you could, you know, move it and use it as a proper screen without having to buy something third party?
Because then you can't sell other monitors for $2,000 each just to put on your frame.
Yeah.
It's all about money.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'd want to see that particular production. And moving on very
what
swiftly.
I love is they make an 8K camera and then a mist filter. What am I missing here? And a low pass filter on the things to produce the moire effect and things like that.
It's
moire,
funny.
Whatever it is.
This is a ProMist here in this bag. I had actually put this in that anamorphic lens. This is one of I do anamorphic mods, you see. So
no, you don't.
This filter on the back of there, so you get a burn-in, slightly softer look. Because this is like the end of your vintage stuff where it came very modern. So this is actually very sharp. So I thought, well, I'll soften it down, and it even increases the flare as well. But it got that wild. Yeah. I've taken it out, and I'm just going to keep it stock. But yeah, the
Vaseline. Just smear some Vaseline on the front, mate. That's all we do in the old days. Soft focus.
Back in the day.
But yeah, it's a consequence of the fact that you know, everything's so sharp and so perfect. You know, got all the glass where it's perfect. All the coatings are designed. It's all computer designed, and it has been for a long time. And then your sensors, that the looks on stuff so clinical. There's a big market, and that's why I mentioned with Fallout earlier. They're making lenses that look vintage, and part of that is soften it all down, because otherwise everything just looks.
Why don't they just get the bottom of a beer glass? Because women look fantastic through those.
Yes, exactly.
A 10 at 2 and a 2 at 10. Or whichever it is. I can't remember the way around that phrase goes. Look, we are definitely going off topic here. Dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, 10 Eastern, 1500 GMT tomorrow. Watch the news. 10 Eastern, 1500 GMT tomorrow. Have a look at SES News. It'll be something to talk about next week, and there will be a video add-on as well.
Is this something American related?
Yeah. Dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, look after yourself. We'll see you again next week, 2100 GMT. I'm trying to end it exactly on the hour. Just let me just try and do that. I haven't.
5 seconds over.
3 seconds. No, 4, 3.